You're now tuned into pSyk's weekly Nerf dosage.
Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to episode 50 of PWND. Yep, it's the Halloween special, I guess. Not really a special, but it's a Halloween episode, and it is episode 50. And in order to maintain tradition from the previous Halloween, I decided I just don on another mask and wear a weird jacket or something, I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, this video will be done in two parts. The first part is, you can click here for the first part, and the second part will be here. This is to give you guys the menu so that, if you want to skip throughout the chapters, you can go ahead, just 1 and 2. The first part will be, of course, about the Paintjob tutorial, and the second part is actually more of a rant that I want to just let out of my system. Right, so let's get straight into it. As promised, this is a Paintjob tutorial, and it's focused on this particular modified pass. This pass is already finished, as in the modification has been all done. The last thing I've left is to actually attach something for the stock, but you can see that this is a stock connector for any end strike, elite or whatever stock attachment, or the 3D printed converter attachment that I previously showed. Over here we actually have a Super Soaker Tornado Strike grip, and I realized when I gripped it, like, oh, this is a lot more comfortable. It also features Venom's pass kit, as you can see, and this grip and this holder actually are from a Nerf Retaliator. Yep, I actually showed this particular pass in one of my previous videos. Let me just try and put the link somewhere for you. I think this will be a good place for the link. It was just, a very plain looking pass in that video, and I decided to try something a bit different for this particular paint job. And so you guys can actually see it says PAGAFS, PAGAFS, and it stands for, nothing to do with the word pSyk. It stands for Pump Action Ghetto as Fuck Shotgun. Yeah, and if you notice the paint job, it's like a bright orange and it fades down towards black, and then it gives it a very comic book kind of a look. A little bit frosted here and there, and I was actually trying to go for a neon orange, and I know that you guys are probably interested in seeing how this was done, so I actually prepared a whole video segment for you guys. Unfortunately, there's this one particular part that got corrupted, so I'm gonna have to cut that part out, and it's the part where I actually try and demonstrate to you when you the difference between spraying a spray can without a block and with a block. I know now you guys don't really understand what I'm saying, but please watch the video, and then hopefully it'll give you a better idea. Alright, so check it out.
Hey you guys, this is step 1 of the tutorial of how to get that special fade effect paint job on your blaster. And of course, first thing you have to do is to prepare your blaster shell. What I mean by prep your blaster shell is basically get the base coat on. So as you can see over here, this is my pass in question, and I've already coated it with a base coat of flat black, and you can see over here. So flat black on the main part of the blaster itself, the main body, and I've already kind of masked out the grip part because I want that to remain blue, stock color or whatever it is. So and then when you're done with coating the base coat, let's move on to step 2. And the next step is to kind of create your stencils, and this is a great time to actually do it because you're waiting for your paint to cure. And what I have over here basically is just a cutting board. As you can see, it's a very simple cutting board. I lined it up. You have to picture this first. I lined it up with 2 layers of very thick masking tape, and then I printed the alphabets on a piece of paper, PAGAFS, and I lined it up on the paper on top of the masking tape that I stuck here on the cutting board, and I stuck it down so you can see the border over here. And then I grabbed my X-Acto knife, which is this baby over here, and the key here is to take your time. Patience is the key. I've already done almost every alphabet except for the last letter S that I'm actually doing halfway. And in order to help you out and get that very nice straight lines, employ the use of a ruler. Okay, so once you're done, you can see. Once you're done, basically you have your all stencils in the masking tape at the bottom, and then we'll move on to step 3. So now that your base coat has dried and cured, it's time to apply the stencils or the masking thing onto here, and this is what it looks like actually. So I've done the first part and this is the second part. I'm gonna try and do this on camera with one hand, so please pardon me, okay? So once you remove the paper layer, it's gonna look like this and you can't see shit, right? So what you basically do is kind of nick the corner, or if you have like a not so sharp, what am I talking about, a pretty blunt pen knife, you can actually use it to kind of dig it up. But let me just try and get this done for you guys so you can see. Alright, start from the corner and go slowly, because you don't want to screw up all that hard work that you put in previously when trying to create the stencil. And you can see everything coming out very nicely. So you can see the letter F and the S, right? So you guys get the idea, right? Okay, I'm gonna do the rest off camera. I transferred like one side of it, and you can see the remaining half over here with the P on this end. Yep. And what I actually did was, let me try and get this lined up. What I did was I kind of created markings with masking tape so it'll remain as straight as possible. And I took cue from the top, so they're evenly spaced now, here and here. And that's where the P starts in the corner. I taped up a line across here and a line across here, so you have to make sure that this, like this T shape over here, is going to be 90 degrees in the corner of each side. And same thing goes for this half, so the T over here, make sure it's 90 degrees, and then you kind of space everything out. So yeah, make sure that you kind of like use your fingernail and you kind of rub down the corners and make sure everything is, you know, sitting really nicely so that the paint will not seep in when you're, you know, doing your paint job. So yeah, I'm going to continue sticking the rest of these alphabets on the other side. There we go, that's done. I removed all the borders and everything, so you can see I've already got the stencils or the stickers out. So I'm gonna get ready to go spray paint, and I'm gonna basically try and get a fade from the top, just like a fade half or almost towards the bottom over here. So I want to kind of cover at least 2/3 to about 3/4 of this text with the fade, so I hope the gradient fades nicely, and that depends on the kind of control that I'll apply. Now the shell is actually somewhere else, I'll show it to you in a while, but I'm going to use the plunger tube to kind of illustrate how you get a fade from the top. Alright, so we're all familiar with spray cans. Sorry about the shadow, I'm just lazy to turn on the other light. But yeah, you know, we all know about spray cans and the way, you know, paint is actually dispersed out the nozzle. And well, using a circular tube like this kind of resembles the past shell itself. So imagine that the bottom is this part where the catch is, okay, and then this is the top of the blaster. So what you want to do, or what I did basically, was to get my spray paint color of choice. And let's say, for example, generally whenever we spray paint, we want to coat it, you know, a couple of times on all angles to make sure that everything you know, gets covered. But for this particular case, I started off by holding the spray can a lot further away from the top of the blaster, so I kind of set it down on a surface and then held it really far away and slowly coated it from the top so that the paint kind of disperses this way on top of it. So from the front view, basically the paint disperses this way. So the paint will only cover up till, okay, as it fades down, cover up till about the halfway mark. But as I mentioned to you guys earlier that I wanted it to cover at least till about 3/4 all the way down, what I did was I had to basically spray paint top and diagonal on the sides, both left and right. But of course I had to apply more paint from the top so that I would have a nicer fade downwards to the bottom, okay? So remember to do that. And because you're actually holding it, the spray can, far away, you want to either spray and move slowly, like much slower than as usual, or you want to coat it quite a lot of times. Alright, and this is my resulting spray paint effect. Yeah, as you can see, it's fading, right? Applied the decals already, and it's fading from really bright neon orange. It's not pink, it's actually neon orange. Compare it to my buttons over there, okay? It's fluorescent orange all the way from here, fading down till about this part. Now as you can see in camera, on the camera actually it looks almost black at the bottom, but the pink has, or the orange has already seeped past the mark that I want to. So I'm gonna have to clean it up in a while, but before that, let me just take out a couple of these characters or these decals on camera so that you guys can see the resulting image. Now the reason why I taped up the bottom bar over here is because this is the part when the priming handle is gonna be running against, and I felt that one layer of black coat paint is more than enough. If any of this paint, as you can see, when it overflows because of the diagonal spray, right? You see diagonal spray would actually hit this part over here, would make this too thick, and you know, friction will be caused when I'm trying to pump the blaster or prime the blaster, and I didn't want that. So I'm gonna just remove a couple of these alphabets for you guys to see, so you can tell what it actually looks like, and then we'll be going through the whole cleaning up process of making it look better. So I'm gonna try and do this on camera for you guys, and I hope that it turns out as expected, alright, as I had expected, I should say. Alright, so get an object like that, and I will remove it really slowly. Yeah, very good. Great. Now you can see I have some residue over here that I will remove in a short while. Alright, but that's not the cause of, that's not for any cause of concern. Alright? That's not any cause for concern. Yeah, that's what it should have been. As you can see, I'm trying to be as gentle as I can about this. And yeah, so I got the letter A now. Needs to be cleaned up a bit. Yeah. Alright, so over here I've got to clean this part up just a little bit. Yeah, so as you can see, there's some residue from the masking tape that I'll be trying to remove in a short while, but you get the idea. So this is the effect that I want. It's kind of like looking like from black, it'll fade. So this is not as clean as I want it to be. Now I'm gonna remove all the rest of this, and I'll be removing the residue, but I'll also be skipping this part and going to the next step. Now the next step is very simple. You want to get yourself the cutting board again and wrap it up with newspaper. Okay, if you guys have access to a piece of cardboard, that'll be even better, because it's a lot easier that way. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to kind of give this part over here another coat of black so that it fades upwards this way, but we want to use this as a kind of a shield to prevent the paint dispersion that goes too far up. Now I'm gonna grab myself a spray can so I can kind of better demonstrate or illustrate this part for you. Give me a second. Yeah, so yeah, Citadel, yes, I'm high-end like that. This is some high-end shit. So for example, whenever we apply spray paint, okay, so for example, if I spray this way, paint dispersion is maybe about this big, I don't know, depending on what kind of a spray can you're actually using, right? Generally you get a very circular outward dispersion. So what I want to do is I want to use this as a sort of a shield, hold it up against the top of the can, so from the side view it should look something like that. Okay, as I spray, so that this would actually block the spray dispersion, so it becomes like that instead, so it gives you a more flat line output. It's kind of hard to explain to you just using my hands and using this, so I'll be demonstrating this to you guys. Yeah, I was not able to actually film the whole fading of pink on the blaster because I needed a big area and the paint was flying everywhere, because I told you that I was actually holding it far away, and that's why I didn't want to record it, because I didn't want to get any paint residue stuck on my camera or my lens. So that's the reason why. But yeah, I'm glad that I actually explained it to you guys. Now for the touching up part, I believe that I can do it, so yeah, now let's move on to that. Hey guys, so here we are. I've already set up this whole area down here. Put some newspapers against the wall so that when I spray paint it wouldn't get onto the wall. You know, I don't want to spoil the side of my house anyway. And then I've got two pieces of paper on a board, and I'll be using that to demonstrate to you what I was talking about, to get that fade effect using this cutting board to kind of shield the paint diffusion, right? So I'm going to be demonstrating three different kinds on each piece of paper. The first one will be just a single squeeze, or single I guess burst or squirt or whatever you want to call it, and that's to simulate a single coat. And then I'll do a second time with two times. There'll be I guess two coats, and then the last one will be a long hold. I guess hold down the spray for a long time to kind of give you an idea of what happens if it's a long thick coat. Okay, so I'll be doing it twice on each time. Now I'm actually using Citadel's paint because I'm high-end like that. I use some high-end shit. But if you guys are actually using other paints, other brands from spray cans, please go and try out your spray first and see the diffusion and how wide it spreads, because from my experience, by using Krylon Fusion for paint, Krylon Fusion paints for plastics, basically that weird shape white colored nozzle that they have kind of gives you a little oval shape kind of dispersion. It kind of spreads wider up and down as opposed to left and right. So you guys should go check it out first before you actually go ahead and try this out. So now I'm going to give you the quick demonstration. Here we go. Right, so as you guys can see, I've already cleaned up the text and it's very clean now, as you can see. Right, so you can see the black coat of paint, and you can clearly see under this light that the bottom part is not as faded as I want it to be. So same thing for this side. Now what I want to do is I want to get black from this line onwards. It's got to be black all the way, and it fades up till at least 3/4, almost like, okay, in this lighting, almost like that, okay, but I gotta make it clean because once I shine the light, you can see it's not what I want. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use that blocking thing, the little block and the fading technique, and I'm gonna try and fade this area over here upwards, so black from the bottom all the way up. Let's see how that goes. Right, I have to admit, right now the wind is being a bitch and it's blowing this way, so if I were to spray it like that, all the paint's gonna fly that way, so I'm gonna have to improvise and I'm gonna have to spray it in this orientation instead. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I gotta, you know, when life throws you lemon, just make lemonade, so this is one of the times. Yeah, I forgot to mention, every time you're doing a paint job like this, when it's fading, make sure that you start spraying outside of the blaster and not on the blaster itself, because the initial squeeze, you're definitely going to get more paint on that area. And make sure that you move all the way outside of the blaster before actually letting go. Alright, so it's turning out pretty good. As you can see, the fade is much more obvious now. In the camera, on this angle, you can see this corner where this part is, the edge of the board is, it's a hard line, almost like a hard line, and then because of the way it's fading and the way the curvature of the blaster is. So the wind is really strong right now. It's getting a bit irritating, it's making it a bit difficult to get this paint job done. So I'm going to stop the camera and I'm going to continue on later when the wind stops blowing. Right, so I'll just catch you guys back inside. Bye.
Okay, welcome back. And yeah, so now this is the final look of the pass in question. And what else I did with the paint job is very simple. I kind of gave it a thick black line all the way across. And I also accentuated this line over here with a black, little thin black border. And I thought it added to the whole like comic book kind of look. Yes, I left this part alone. I didn't want to paint the grip because that's the reason why I wanted it to be ghetto. I didn't paint this grip. I just drilled some holes and secured it with some screws. Okay, so over here you have I have actually drilled out two bigger slots, and these slots actually access the screw ports for the original pass pump grip. So yeah, also the three screw ports for the Tornado Strike pump are still intact, pump grip, and secured it in by using 6 of these machine screws to just kind of screw it in place. It's an almost perfect fit, as you can see from here. Alright, just some hot glue on the inside, and the hot glue actually serves no structural adhesive purpose. All it does is just to help me hold this grip in place while I perform the installation of the screws for this. So yeah, the very standard Venom pass kit. Yeah, so I'm sure all of you already know how a Venom kit performs, so I'm not going to give you a firing demonstration because it would be a waste of time. But let me elaborate on why I was going for this particular look. I decided, you know, because I play with design software sometimes and I actually do a little bit of t-shirt and graphic designing, so I thought, you know, I would just try this out on design, and I came up with this, you know, kind of a classy look. If you imagine the orange to be a greyish color or to be like a darker metallic color, it would look more classy, you know, in a sense. So I decided, you know, I want to try to make this work out as a paint job instead of using like graphic prints and everything. So that is what I was going for, and that is what I ended up with. And I'm actually honestly quite surprised and very happy with the way this thing turned out. I guess, you know, with this acquired skill or with this idea coming to fruition now, I will probably, you know, make more of these sort of paint jobs in the future. not right away though, but yeah, I hope that it's something that you guys like, and I hope that you guys find it as cool as I do. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's it for part 1. On to part 2.
Alright, so here's the second part of today's video. It's not really like a rant per se, it's more of like something that I was thinking about, and I decided I want to share it with you guys, and I would like to know what you guys think or say, be it whether you are parents or not. Okay, it's just open for everyone, and I'd just like to hear your insight. Now, I know you guys don't even know what this is about, so I'll just start by saying that I'm not trying to stereotype, you know, like things like Asian families and stuff like that. Alright, so I grew up in an Asian family, right? My dad is a Chinese by race, ethnicity, sorry, and my mom is a Filipino Chinese, so it's typically Asian. Now, like most, or like almost all other Asian families, I grew up with my parents always telling me, when you grow up, son, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a lawyer, I want you to be a dentist, I want you to just earn a lot of money and shit, you know, it's for future. Go to university, get your degree, get your bachelor's, get your honors, you know, and stuff like that. And I always had to be the best at whatever I wanted to do. Not really. Let me rephrase that. I had to be the best at school. Okay, for my academics, that's it. Academically wise, I had to be the best, so you know, it was always a competition whenever I went to school. Now I remember this very clearly. I was in primary 1, in grade school education, that would be grade 1. I remember I put in a lot of work. Yes, at that age, okay, at the age of 6 years old or 7 years old, I can't remember, but I remember taking my report card at the end of the year and thinking to myself, I'm gonna make my family proud because I topped my class for that year. Brought that report card back home, and all my family said was, you topped your class, did you top your school? And I'm like, as a kid of that age, is that something that I should be really concerned about? You know? So I'm not saying that they are like that now. My family's kind of toned down because I spoke up, and I mean, look at me, okay? I'm like the biggest kid out, you should say. But this is also the same mentality that most Singaporean families instill into their children, into the next generation, that it becomes very, I guess, a very selfish kind of an environment. Like everyone just wants to be the best. It doesn't matter, and I'm saying this to you guys not because, you know, I think this way, but more of experience. I'm experiencing the same thing when I go to school, and I experience the same thing when it comes to things like in the dance scene in Singapore, and I'm experiencing the same thing, I guess, to a certain extent in the Nerf scene, okay, where everyone just wants to be the best. It's not about anyone else but me. I need to be the best. I need to be the best at my game, whatever I do. Even if even if I'm gonna play in the stock war, I'm gonna be the best. Even if let's say I'm gonna play in the modern war, I'm gonna have the best blaster possible. I don't even care if I have to put down like $1,000 for like the best upgrade parts. I'm just gonna do it so that I can be the best. I wanna be the best, and a lot of them end up being sore losers when they, you know, when they get called out during a game. Just, I don't know, integrity, you know what I'm trying to say? So what do you guys think, especially the Singaporeans? Do you think that what I'm saying is true? Do you think that, you know, this mentality over here, it causes people to be selfish? You know, like, oh, I spot something, say for example, I spot like a new upgrade kit. I'm not gonna tell nobody about it. I'm not gonna tell anyone because I want this upgrade kit. It's gotta be mine. Or like I've developed like this new modding method or technique that helps me improve the performance of my blast. I'm not gonna share with anyone. I'm just gonna have it and I'm gonna own everybody, you know. To a certain extent, I feel that this happens quite a lot here in Singapore, and it often leads to bad behavior of people just wanting more and more power, you know, and range, and in the long run, you know, this sort of power and range would eventually be detrimental to this particular hobby that we have, and You know, if anything happens, we might completely lose this hobby here in Singapore. So I'd like to know what you guys think about, you know, the upbringing. Does it really affect them? Is what I'm saying just total crap, or is what I'm saying, truthful to a certain extent? I don't know. I'd like you guys to give me your input, because, you know, I see a lot of people nowadays on forums and on Facebook groups and stuff, you know, saying, I want this, I want that, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, you know, and I just want to be the best, you know. I think it's cool, and I guess this is kind of moving away from the whole aspect of modding, the whole aspect of enjoying Nerf for what it is. I don't know. See, so I don't even know if this is considered a rant, or is just this me sharing my opinion. I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's just something that I wanted to get it out to you guys, especially on an episode that is of such a milestone, you know, like that particular 50 number. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Just leave me some comments in the comments section below. So with all of that said, we've come to the end of episode 50. Once again, this is the Pagaffs. And there are some more details about the upcoming war that I mentioned to you guys in my previous video, the one on the 24th of November at KUCC. Apparently now we've managed to get some blasters to be on loan, and also darts will be provided. How much and how many, I don't know yet, but you guys know that once I have information, I will be sharing it with you guys, right? Yeah, so stay tuned for that. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I hope it didn't turn out too long, because I can't really estimate. And if you're not subscribed, I hope that you guys might consider subscribing. Yeah, this is my Pagaffs. I hope you liked the tutorial video. Thanks for sticking out, and I guess this is my way of trying to combat all of the input, you know, and all the problems that you guys face. So yes, I will not do separate videos, okay? Not a few. I will stick to one episode of Pwn, just one video, and I guess I will tell you what's gonna happen in the episode once it starts, and I'll point out, so that just in case you guys want to know exactly where is which chapter, you can choose it from the annotations. And those of you who don't have access to annotations when you're watching the video, I truly apologize. I will think of something, I promise, okay? Yeah, apart from that, you guys have a great week ahead. Those of you celebrating Halloween this week, have fun. I don't really think anyone will celebrate Halloween here in Singapore. Yeah, so yeah, take care, have a blessed week, peace.